Alright, this is a bit of a different video, but I've gotten a lot of questions in the past about how to set up OBS and recording. This is specifically for Minecraft recording and streaming. If you're recording or streaming something else, it can still apply to it, but it's going to be a little bit less specific at later points of the video. Everything else though, basic settings and stuff will still apply, so stick around even if you're not necessarily needing it for Minecraft recording. It's just good general information. So the first thing that you're going to set up is whenever you add a new profile, it's going to ask you if you're using it for streaming or for recording only. If you are streaming, hit streaming. It'll ask you to select what account you want to connect it to, YouTube, Twitch. Those are probably the main two. If you're multi-streaming to YouTube and Twitch, I recommend hitting YouTube because YouTube will let you pull up YouTube chat in OBS. See, I can pull up chat here. This will pull up my YouTube chat. And there's actually another thing called multiple output that I connect to Twitch. And multiple output will not show you chat, so you have to pull it up in a browser window. But browser window for Twitch is a lot more useful than pulling it up for YouTube because you've got all the creator options, you've got raid and set goals and stuff that you can't do through OBS anyways. So it's a lot more useful if you pull it up in the browser if you're doing multiple output with Twitch. Now, there's a lot of stuff here to look at, but we're not going to worry about this for now. The first thing we're going to do is go straight to settings. Now, there's not a lot in general that you have to worry about. You don't really have to see a lot of this. I hit automatically record when streaming because it's pretty useful to have, so that way I just don't forget. This is just appearance, you don't have to worry about that. This is the stream connection. I just connected the account to my main Pizza Puff channel. You would do it to whatever yours is. And here I would not check this. Don't ignore the service streaming setting recommendations. It only gives you maximums, so it's usually fine anyways. But I like choosing CBR for rate control. I go to bitrate, and this kind of depends on your internet. If your internet's pretty solid and you've never had problems with uploading or downloading, you can set it to 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 kilobits per second. Perfectly fine. And it doesn't matter. So, and set CPU usage to whatever your computer can take it. I would do a couple test runs with different presets here. I choose medium because it's kind of the middle ground. Fast, faster, ultra fast. Those get less intensive on the CPU. And then of course, these get a lot faster. These get, take more on the CPU. I think placebo is just like, it doesn't even help at that point, but you just, that's kind of funny actually. I've never seen that. I don't mess with any of these. You don't really need to. Recording, I'm going to have to block that out because it does dox me. But this, you can choose where the recording path goes to. So you want to make a separate folder that has like OBS raw footage or something. And then you can just choose that. Video encoder, use the same as the stream. So you've got the, here, video encoder and audio encoder. I keep audio on AAC, and video encoder kind of depends on what your hardware is, what you prefer. It really doesn't matter. So like, just kind of choose what you'd like. If your computer is really good, you can get good hardware encoding, especially if you have AV1 graphics. You can connect it to your graphics card. AV1 encoding is really good. If not, the software encoding is fine as well. Here, I have 5 audio tracks actually selected, but I actually recommend 6. And I will explain how to set up the audio tracks in a little bit. So I would select all 6 of these, and that way we'll be able to set it up the way we want a little bit later. Audio, don't mess with this. Just don't bother. Replay buffer. I have replay buffer enabled. I like replay buffer if I'm just online and I don't necessarily know if something interesting is going to happen, but I don't want to be recording the whole time, but I don't want to have to miss something. So you can enable replay buffer, set a replay time. This is 3 minutes. It also depends on how much memory you have. And then as long as you start the replay buffer here, you can hit a hotkey and it takes a snapshot of the last 3 minutes, and it won't constantly be recording, but it will record those last 3 minutes. So very helpful, very good thing to have. Let's go back into settings. Now, audio, you don't really need to worry about any of this. at the moment. Just kind of don't mess with it. A video, make sure you go to this. Base canvas resolution, default it to whatever your display is. 1920 by 1080 is what this display is. And then you want your output usually to be the same thing. You usually want your output to be the same as whatever you're recording. Otherwise, it can mess with stuff, and usually it's just not worth it. You can scale it in editing if you really care. Common FPS, usually you want to set your FPS to 60 for games and for recording. YouTube uploads at 60 FPS maximum, I think. So that is usually what you want it to be at. You can get away with 30, 45 FPS, but it's not ideal, especially if you're having faster motion in games, if you're snapping around your camera a lot, or even every once in a while, it can get jarring. So keep it to 60 FPS if you can. Now, hotkeys, this will depend on what you prefer. I have my start recording and stop recording set on F10. I have replay buffer start set on F8. Save replay from the replay buffer set on F9. And then you've got all the scene switching, which we will talk about in a minute. And most of this advanced stuff you don't have to worry about either. Now, let's talk about the sources. Now, there's a lot of sources here that you might not recognize, and this is for Twitch alerts and etc. So I have a text-to-speech. It doesn't actually have a box because it's just sound, but this text-to-speech is through a Stream Elements thing where basically they submit channel points and then they get a sound played. You can basically just go to here, hit browser, you want to make a new one, and then they'll want you to input a URL, and it'll give you a URL for Stream Elements additions and for Twitch alerts images. You can choose the width and height. You can mess all of this stuff, but usually you just have to put it in and then scale it and put it wherever you want. But for now, I'll get rid of that one because it's not actually doing anything. I've got channel alerts, I've got channel points all on separate ones so I can control where they go. In fact, let me just show you. It'll pull up right there. And it's actually probably a good idea. Properties, it's in properties. No, it's not. Hold on. Filters. So you can actually add chroma key filters if you make custom videos with green screen backgrounds, and you can chroma key stuff out. Now, actually, I've changed this stuff since, so I'm going to remove a lot of these. So if I send another test alert, now it's not green screening it out, which is ideal. And you can also lock sources, right? You can lock them so you prevent them from moving around, and I like to do it once I have it in a good position. All of these are locked because they're all in the right spot. These are application sound sources. So you'll want to hit application audio capture. It's technically beta, but it works perfectly fine. So let's just make a new one. And then let's search. Let's say I want it coming through just Spotify Premium. I want all the Spotify to be on a separate source. And this is good for splitting your audio tracks. You usually don't want to use desktop audio unless you're streaming, and I will explain that in a second. But basically, you've got it in a separate source here, and it works perfectly fine. As you see, I do the same thing with Discord. I do the same thing with Minecraft audio. You can tune it to a specific .exe file. So, like if I add this, you can choose here, match title, otherwise find video of same executable. For stuff like Minecraft audio, that's what you want to go for. And I have all three of those here. Now, something I also like to do, I have this on my main one, but not on this one, is I like to set colors. So, display capture, I'll set it to blue. This one, I'll set the green, Minecraft audio. Audio input capture, I'll set the color to kind of this black color. Spotify. So now you've got them all colored and you can see where they all are, which is perfectly helpful. Now you'll also want an audio input capture. So you can go here, audio input. I've got a bunch of them actually on this one accidentally. And then you'll want to set it to whatever microphone you're using. If you disconnect the microphone and replug it back in, you're going to have to change it again. You have to basically just go into this, right click it, hit properties, and then change it to Find microphone. That's what mine is, but it's whatever microphone you're using. I'm going to delete that again. You could probably hear double of me there, and that's fine. That's what happens whenever you have more than one audio input going to the same location, and I'll explain that as well. Now, for the screen, there are a couple options here. There is a game capture. Game capture with Minecraft, however, Java is a little bit buggy. If you're streaming game capture and you do something wrong, sometimes it crashes your recording, crashes your stream. It doesn't quite like it. There's also window capture, which I've never really messed with before, but I've heard it's okay. You can try it. I prefer display capture, which just gets the whole display. You choose what display you're putting Minecraft on, and once you full screen the game, it'll just get the whole Minecraft window as your whole thing. The only thing you're going to have to make sure to do is not hit the Windows button and accidentally pull up this bar and dox yourself on stream. If you're doing that, just make sure you don't oopsie daisies like I've done before, and you should be fine. If you're recording, you can edit it out. That's fine. But streaming, you got to be a little bit more careful. Again, mess around with it a bit, figure out which one you prefer. I prefer display capture personally, but it could also not be for you. It's up to you. Now, we've got audio mixer. This basically shows everything audio-wise that you've pulled through in the sources section. And actually, I forgot to mention, you can move around all these different docks and stuff. You can put docks inside of each other. That's what I did here. So, scene transitions, I just set it to fade. You can also set it to cut if you want it to go straight, but I like a fade with 300 milliseconds. And these are all my different scenes. I'll show you all of those. They look like that. Actually, you can't see, but it's switching between each of these, right? Oh, and I accidentally left on cut, so. Huh. Why does it want to do cut now? Oh, you've also got fade to color, luma wipe, swipe. I can see it update. It just takes a second. So, you basically just have to wait. Yeah, okay, I like that. Personally, okay, I'm using swipe now. But you can make whatever you want. Fade to color, slide, stinger, I don't know. I don't know what those all are. You can mess with them. The real issue is the audio mixer. So let's look at audio mixer properties. You can match it to the window and etc. I like changing these a little bit. So desktop audio is a little bit quieter. You got Minecraft audio, which is down a little bit. Spotify audio is down a little bit. From what I hear, just a tiny bit. Audio input capture, I keep it at max. But really what you need to look at is advanced audio properties. This lets you choose what tracks you get everything recording on. Now, this is critical because when you're streaming, the only track that either Twitch or YouTube will accept is track number 1. It actually will not play tracks other than track number 1. Anything in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's not going to get any of it. So you need to have desktop audio as well. So, or alternatively, you could turn off desktop audio and get all of your other audio sources on track number 1 as well. What I personally like to do is I like to have audio input capture and desktop audio, although you could just turn off desktop audio and turn all of these on as well. That's perfectly fine. It works as well. And just have desktop audio on track number 1 as the backup and just have it always off like that. Just in case you need it to record an audio that isn't Discord, Minecraft, or Spotify, or whatever other base ones you have. So you can do that and then just have it disabled from there. Honestly, I might stick with that because it works pretty well. You don't want to touch balance. You don't want to turn on mono. Volume you can change just from these, so you don't need to go into advanced audio properties for that. Don't mess with sync offset. Don't mess with audio monitoring. Don't mess with any of that. Only touch tracks right here. So this is personal opinion, but whenever you're messing with tracks like this, I like to put them in order of, super, I just hit my mic. I like to put them in order of how I'm going to use them in the recording. So track number 1 is meant for streaming. So whenever I put it in recording software, I immediately delete track number 1. Track number 2 is audio input capture. That's the most critical thing for the video. is that you can hear me. You can hear what I'm saying. Second on that is Minecraft audio, because that's usually the audio that I have most critical afterwards. Discord audio, you can put in either... Discord audio I put next. I put in 4, because Discord audio is usually pretty important after that if I'm in Discord with anyone. Spotify audio I keep in last. I usually delete it out of recordings, but you can keep it in as well. It really doesn't matter. And then number 6, I actually like to put the desktop audio again, just in case there is desktop audio that you need in the recording. It's there, otherwise you can delete it. That's pretty much it. And you want to set all of these tracks like this. Make sure it looks like that, or you can switch around the order if you'd like. Just make sure they're not showing up in more than the first track and another track, but not first 2 and 3, because then you're overlapping. And especially if you have it overlapping with a singular source also in that section, you'll hear 2 of me, and it's going to sound like a mess. In fact, it might sound like a mess right now because I'm actively messing with it. So there you go. That's how you deal with audio tracks, and it's hidden away, but once you figure out where it is, it's actually pretty simple to deal with. So that's sources, audio mixer, settings, all of that good stuff. Let's talk about scenes. Scenes, basically, the main scene that you're going to see has all of these sources. You actually have to change audio input for each source, unless it's like something generic like Discord audio or Spotify audio. So you have to copy the sources. You can copy paste them. And so I can go into a different scene. Instead of display capture, you'll hit add, and then you'll hit media source. So most of my other sources, my other scenes are media sources. So just videos of "we'll be right back" or "thanks for watching the stream" or the stream intro. So you'll hit media source, and then you get to choose a location, a file location. Now scene switching, you can go into settings, hotkeys, and then you can make hotkeys for switching. Gameplay I have set on home. Then it's starting I have set on insert, which is to the left of home. And then page up, which is to the right of home, I have we'll be right back. So it's in like a little T shape for me. Again, this is personal preference, what buttons you set it to. But I have it a little T shape, so I can just all in the same area. I have home for the main scene. Now you can start replay buffer, start virtual camera. Another thing you can do is you can set up video capture devices. I don't have one connected right now, but you'll literally just have to choose a camera device that you want it to connect to. And then you can actually keep that there. Even if you don't want it always on all the time, you can hit the turn off button and it won't show it at all. And you can lock it to make sure you don't accidentally turn it back on. You can unlock it, turn it on whenever you want, turn it off, lock it again. There are a couple other ones in here. Color source, you don't really usually need to mess with those. Image slideshow, you wouldn't need to, or text, you don't really need to mess with those. Yeah, you don't usually need to mess with most of those, but all the options are there. So manage broadcast is another important one. Here, I have it connected to YouTube. I named the title of the stream test. I'm not actually going to do it. Put in a description. I usually just copy paste from a previous stream in there. Hit no, it's not made for kids. Otherwise, you can't start streaming. You want to select the thumbnail, and I usually hit schedule for later and choose, using this system, you know, what day and time I want it to be at. I'm not going to hit schedule broadcast. If you hit schedule and select, it'll pull it up on the right side here, so you can automatically hit recording. If you hit schedule, you'll have to go back into manage broadcast and choose select an existing broadcast from here. You can also hit open YouTube Studio from here, which you don't usually need to do, but the option's there. That settings button just pulls up settings. Exit, I think, just closes the application. All of this is fine. And I think scene collection, tools, docs. Oh yeah, multiple output. For streaming, you pull up this. You usually want to get your scene from OBS. You want to choose what encoder it is. Usually you can either choose get from OBS or just choose again AV1 encoding. I don't know. Any of that stuff. Audio settings, get from OBS. Frame rate, keep it at 60. Bitrate for Twitch, I found the best bitrate is about 5,000. My internet here at home can handle 3,500 pretty much fine. But for Twitch, 5,000, it will handle that just fine. 4,500, mess around with it to see what the internet can handle. Right now, I'm going to keep it at 3,500. Again, you got CPU usage preset. You don't really want to touch profile or tune or max B frames. You don't want to mess with any of that. Stream key, not going to show you this, but you can copy paste your stream key from the Twitch creator lander, and you can plug it in there. Pretty easy, not hard to mess with. Unfortunately, it hasn't been working on this computer for me. Not sure why. It works on my main rig, but not this one. So if I can figure that out, I will. Otherwise, I'm not going to worry about it. I've just been doing single streams just to Twitch, pulling it through the main thing here. Docs, you can pull up stats as well if you're really interested in it. CPU usage, disk space available, memory use. I think that actually covers everything. I'm gonna edit this together and it'll be up here forever so you guys can reference it. Yeah, if you guys got some information out of it, if you guys learned from it, you can also resize OBS just like you can any other window. It's not too hard. If you guys learned from this, please consider subscribing, leave a like, save it, you know, keep it in mind whenever you need to refer back to figure out how to change something. It is useful information to have. And if you've got any other questions about OBS, leave them for me down in the comments. I'll answer them if I can. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, and just a quick shout out to J-Man Reptiles, my buddy, my man, for being the first Patreon member. I don't know how to do these kinds of shout outs. If you're interested, I've got links and everything to the Patreon. There's also YouTube memberships, $3 a month. And yeah, thanks, Jan.